Welcome to the TNC Random Fandom Podcast. We are here to have fun and talk all things pop culture, collecting, and nerd culture in general. Make sure you join the conversation during our live stream with our most excellent hosts, Craig Borden and Tommy Mock. Let the shenanigans begin.
Hello, everyone. Tommy here for the TNC Random Fandom Podcast, and welcome to yet another lovely episode that we have in store for you. An episode that I'm actually very excited about, believe it or not. I get to introduce a couple, or actually three people that I got to work with pretty closely and learned a lot.
About me.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait, I didn't know they were there.
I know I'm fit for a helmet. I'm cosplaying as a terrible podcast host tonight, but that's besides.
This is the reason why he always does this.
I agree, Tommy. There is that. I've been looking forward to this one because this is something that in my fandom and everything that I am shocked I have not gotten into. Especially now that I've been goofing around with 3D printing, I have gotten fit for a helmet. Like literally, I'm getting there. But my fandom's right there, and I just can't believe I've never gotten into this ballpark. So I'm very excited to talk to our friends about this one tonight.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, my co-host, the co-host with the most, Mr. Craig Borden, and I apologize, good sir, for not adding for saying it right away.
It's all fun.
I'm just excited. I had a very good weekend. The dance troupe had their first performance of the season, which was awesome, and it was wonderfully great. So those of you who have been to the Genesee Country Village and Museum, please go and enjoy everything that has to offer. Now, on with our show.
The arts.
This week's show is all about cosplay. Now, those of you who know, I have had the opportunity to co-host, co-MC, co-judge a cosplay contest at three other cons. So we had a Rochester Con, we had the Rochester Anime Fest, and then the Niagara Anime Fest. And I have three award-winning cosplayers right with us tonight. And I got to say, I can't wait to talk to them again because these people have become friends of mine, and I look forward to hopefully working with them again. So, you know what? Without further ado, let's bring them on. We got Blue Kitten Cosplay. We got Paz, or This is Paz, and we have Anastasia Cosplay. So we're just going to refer to them as Blue, Anna, and Paz. How are you guys doing?
Doing good.
Great. Yes.
Outstanding. So I'm sorry for the long-windedness, but again, I'm excited. I'm excited to have you guys on. You guys are awesome. I got to work with every one of you, and Craig's got to work with two of you. Sort of. He was kind of like on the outside looking
counter guy
kind of thing. Yep, he was the camera guy. So
camera guy.
So we got to get this thing started, and without me totally geeking out about this. So I'm gonna just throw it out there, and I'll start with you, Blue, and then we'll go around the table. Is what got you into cosplay? What is it that said, you know what, I think I got an eye for this and I'm going to enjoy doing it?
So yeah, when I was in, I think, middle school, my friend introduced me to anime, and then it just went on to cosplay, and I just people do that? That's super cool. And then at first, I just store-bought some of my cosplays, and I just continued on and learning how to make these really cool costumes, and it's just really a really awesome experience meeting everybody in cosplay and just having fun.
Awesome. How about you, Anna? What got you into cosplay?
So gosh, I've been costuming my whole life and making outfits and doing themed parties and stuff like that. But it was actually my partner who got me into it. Before we got married, he was like, have you ever been to a convention? You sew clothing and stuff. I feel like you'd like it. And so I made a cosplay for that one convention. I was hooked. I've been hooked since.
Oh, nice. How about you, Paz? How do you get into this?
I think I could define myself as like the Halloween person who kind of fell into cosplay. I know you guys did a podcast recently about Disney parks,
Yes.
and I used to love going to Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween parties, and I would create my
Oh,
outfits,
yeah.
and then it kind of just started just like the ball just kept going, and I was like, I want to keep making like cosplays and stuff, and then I've like started falling into cons, and it was a lot of fun, and I just haven't stopped since.
That's awesome. So here, so is it purely for all of you? Do you purely, or is that am I pronouncing my words right? All right. Okay. Is it purely just anime, or do you venture into different genres like Marvel or any other thing, or do you strictly just deal with anime? Anyone, go ahead, jump in.
I actually
Go around the
almost
table the way you did
cosplay
before.
no anime
Go
at
ahead.
all. I have a very small percentage of anime that I do. I started with the big fandoms, but now I'm kind of into niche fandoms. So currently, it's mostly Critical Role, which is a life form or D&D thing
Mhm.
that has gotten pretty big, and then a couple of shows here and there like Arcane and stuff like that. But I do almost no anime at all. Very little, actually.
There we
I
go.
mean, for me, I think the core is like like I was always like a Disney kid, so Disney was like the first thing for me. It's been overtaken by a lot of anime. Um, I also do a lot of video game based things.
Mhm.
The thing that is throwing me off mostly for like Marvel is I think I'm like too like chubby to wear like spandex suits, so I usually avoid Marvel or DC because of that.
Oh,
Not
come
as a
on now.
character for everybody.
Don't sell yourself short. Don't do that. Don't do that. I've seen your cosplay. You're good. How about you, Blue?
For me, it's mixed bag. Like I do all kinds of stuff, but it is mostly anime.
Okay. So now here is a subject that I wanted to talk, that I did want to touch base on, and this honestly is for Anna, because when we had done our second con together, you had a character that you were cosplaying, and you had actually turned some younger fans away from taking pictures with you for a very specific reason. Can you please explain why you were turning away some of the younger fans?
Yes. So one, I do think over the years, people have turned cosplay is not consent into thinking it's all about inappropriate photographs being taken and
Mhm.
harassing sexual harassment basically, and that's not what it is. Actually, it's all things. Your cosplay is you. It's on your body. You get to determine when you have pictures taken, and you get to determine who takes those pictures. If somebody's creeping you out and they want a picture, you can say no. um so there, I was dressed as a character. I was dressed as Husk from Hazbin Hotel. That is a very adult show, and I had kids who were like 13 and 14 wanting to take pictures with me. And that is not a show that I feel is an appropriate thing for me to be taking pictures with them. So I allowed them to take pictures of me. I just would not take pictures with those, any individual under 18, I would not take a picture with.
And
And
it's
to that point,
yep. Go ahead, Craig.
it was more just like you said, you wouldn't do if your children, you wouldn't do that same thing too, if and all that
Yeah.
kind of thing. So it will be that same ballpark. You're just, to your point, making sure the kids don't get into something that maybe is a little too adult for them, right?
Yeah. And it's, if they want to watch it, that's between them and their parents. Everybody knows their children best. I don't know these children though, so I don't know if they're
Yep.
at the emotional maturity to be able to understand and
Yep.
appreciate the complex themes that are in the show. So
Yeah.
it's a personal prayer. If you're under 18, and it's that show pretty specifically, that's the only one I could think of right now where I would not take pictures with. They could still take a picture of me. I just won't take a picture
Yeah.
with them.
But that,
My
but
daughter's has older sisters, so she's been watching horror movies her whole life, and she's about to be
Mhm.
15. So I can't keep her away from anything, including the Saw movies right now. So it is what it is. Go ahead, Tommy.
so that's you just being aware of what you are portraying and what you're putting out
Yeah.
there, and you making the very conscious decision of saying, you know what, my character is very adult orientated, and I want to make sure that I'm not that person. So,
Yeah,
you know what? I applaud you for that. I do
yeah, it's
applaud
kind
you
of
for that.
not encouraging minors to get into a show that is not necessarily appropriate for them. Whether
Right.
they do or not, again, that's between them and their parent. And I think it's, I have a son, so um, I would appreciate if my son was in an inappropriate fandom and wanted a picture with somebody, I would appreciate if the cosplayer had said no. So, I try to emulate that.
That's you know what? Awesome for you. And what about you, Paz? Is there any do's or don'ts that you make sure that when it comes to fans coming up to you, is there anything that you say, you know what, I'm not going to do that, or no, I don't, I don't do that. Is there any do's or don'ts that you do with fans?
Generally, like I'm good with most, fandoms and everything. I had gone in once for this is such a bad story, Jujutsu Kaisen, and I had like an outfit, and the character of Nanami, uh, like he pulls this girl's hair in the show, and so people would come up to me and ask if I could take photos with them while I was pulling their hair. And I was like, I can't do that. That completely like crosses a line for me. Like I get being in character, but that was not something I was comfortable with.
In character, still you at the end of the day,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
So there's good deal.
I appreciate that, and again, it's also about a level of comfort for yourself and also for your fans, because I know that you all have fans. You guys have a huge following. How about you, Blue? What is your do's and don'ts? What is one thing that you say, I can't do that with my fans, or I can't do that with somebody who just comes up to me and says, hey, let me do this with you?
Yeah, like what these guys said, I never do anything that someone is uncomfortable with. Um, you always like have to ask and make sure everything's all
Mhm.
right. And you don't know who's watching because like you can get seriously in trouble. Like I know there's a cosplayer who I don't know, they jumped at a character and I heard that they uh didn't ask to do that, and it will make them uncomfortable for sure. And even if they're filming it, and it doesn't matter if you're in character, it always means consent at the end of the day.
Very good, very good. Because I remember when you and I worked together, we actually had a young man come up, and he had signed his little thing, and he was going to go, and he wanted, and then he came up to us at the last minute and said, you know what, I'm really not, I'm not comfortable right now. I'm not feeling it. So, please take me out. And the first thing we said to him was, there is no obligation for you to do anything with this contest, and we want to make sure that everything is that you feel like you are in a safe space. So, and that's the one thing that I appreciate. And Anna and I, we had an instance of where some young cosplayers were dressed as characters. I believe they were Sailor Moon characters, maybe. I can't remember, but they were wearing a bodysuit and everything. And there was a creeper that was taking pictures. And so we kind of had to make sure that everybody realized that, right? And Paz was there too. We had to make sure that we realized that we put it out there that, you do not take pictures of people without their consent, because some of them are definitely under the age of 18. So I do applaud you all for having that kind of level of self-awareness, and also the awareness of your fans. And I appreciate that. So good on you.
Good things.
So Anna has a list of things that she would like to talk to us about. So the first thing that I'm going to ask is, well, you know what? I'm going to ask you this. Are there cosplayers out there, whether they be considered a celebrity in the cosplay world? And I follow a few of them because of a reality show that I watched back in like the mid 2000s called Heroes of Cosplay. Were you guys fans of that show?
No.
I've seen a bit of it.
I know some people who are on that, and the horror story, it was bad. It was very marketed, and none of the drama that was on the show actually happened, from what I've been told.
There was a recent not podcast, a recent YouTube video that cosplayer Sarah Spaceman, I believe, posted
I
recently on
follow
YouTube.
her. Yep.
It's a very deep dive into heroes of cosplay. At the end, she actually interviews Yaya Han. So like I know, like I took that show as a show. Like I knew a
Mhm.
lot of that wasn't real, but then recently watching that, it got even worse. Like reality TV, you're doing it for views. I get that. I understand that. But it's so weird to see it in our community, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah, it
Yep.
is. Agreed.
What about you, Blue? Do you have any heroes of cosplay interaction, or were you
So
a
you
fan
like
of the show?
I didn't really watch it because first I didn't like have like a way to watch it, but I'm not really. I think I've seen a few clips, and I'm just not a fan of it. All the drama and whatnot.
No, I took a look and I've never seen this show, but there was another show that came out in 2017 called Cosplay Melee. Is that a show that you guys were familiar with?
I've seen a
I
Was
few of
that the
it.
one?
Yeah.
Was that the one like Chopped except cosplay?
Yep.
I
Yeah,
think
yeah, yeah.
so.
actually
I
sounds
think
kind of
so.
fun.
Yeah, the concept was really good. I never watched it, but the concept is really good. And from a creative standpoint, I was like, ooh, that would be really fun to do.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me, there was one on Sci-Fi for a little bit that was actually all about like, movie makeup and everything like that, which is kind of off of the tangent here from what we're really talking about. But in that same vein, I thought it was a wonderful show, the few episodes I did see, and then it really quickly died with Sci-Fi Channel.
Yeah, yeah.
So, unfortunately.
So when we
But
start talking about cosplay and we start looking, what is the first thing that draws your inspiration for building a cosplay? And I don't want to necessarily say costume, but I guess that's what it ends
Yeah,
up being.
that's
Yeah.
that's
Like a
totally
better
okay. It's
term.
cosplay is costume with play. So
Yes.
Yeah.
it's costume and play mixed together. So yeah, it's absolutely a costume. It's good.
So it's well, again, I just want to make sure that I'm using the proper terminology because again, I know that when I do stuff at the museum and I'm dressing in period dress, when I refer to it as a costume, people kind of get offended. They say that's either wardrobe or it's clothes. So I don't want to
That's
necessarily.
because that's like pinky out level stuff in that
Exactly.
environment there, I think, Tommy.
But
Make sure you have your
so
tea with your crumpets.
so what? So when we get a con, so first I have to ask you, did Toricon was this weekend, right?
Yeah, it was this weekend.
Who did you all go to Toricon?
No.
Nice.
Okay, wait a minute. I thought you all said that you were going to Toricon, or at least you planned on going to Toricon.
I was planning on it, but life happened, so I was not able to go. I do have cons that I plan on going. It's just it depends on what happens when it's
Right,
time.
right.
Mhm.
So okay, well, I guess that then I'm still going to go ahead with this one question. Then it's
Yeah.
like, so say a con comes up. Do you now besides like say a costume party or a special event, which mostly would be a cosplay? What is the first inspiration that you get to building a costume? Do you first find the character that inspires you, or is it something else? So I will start with you, Anna. What first inspires you to build your costume?
So I have two tracks. One is if I'm just doing a cosplay for fun to go to a con, if I have a connection with the character in some way and they have a interesting design. Those are my two things, especially if the design is challenging or is going to include something I've never done before and I'm going to have to learn a new skill. Like those are things that would draw me to a cosplay.
Mhm.
But my other track is if I plan on competing. If I plan on competing, then I'm going to choose because I have such a lot of niche areas of interest. I'm going to choose something that's a little more widely known. And then I'm also going to look at it and what techniques does this have that I have mastered so that I have the best chance of putting forward a costume that's worthy of the contest.
Awesome. How about you, Paz?
I should piggyback off of Anna first. One of the big things for me, since Anna does a lot of craftsmanship-based competitions, I am a performance-based cosplayer. So I will find characters not only that like spark inspiration for me, but a lot of times I will start listening to music and immediately go, this reminds me of this character. I guess kind of spoilers. I'm trying to compete in Kineticon this year. And I've had this issue that Anna has mentioned where I'm picking niche characters. So this year, my like course correction is to pick like widely known characters. I'm gonna find that happy medium somewhere like soon, maybe next year. But I'm thinking of doing something for Wally. So immediately the first song
That's
that
funny.
pops up in my head is Put On Your Sunday Clothes from Hello Dolly, since he actually watches that video in the movie. But immediately the second song that popped up in my head was Let the Bodies Hit the Floor. And is that one scene in Wally where, you know, like I think the ship tilts and all of the like humans just start
You see all
rolling
the
down.
people just rolling.
So now in my head, it's trying to figure out how to match like Wally with Let the Bodies Hit the Floor. So like, yes, I now know to get best in show, I have to be both a craftsman and a performer, which is something I'm also trying to balance. So I made like Wally's jumpsuit. But now I also have to figure out music, figure out visuals, figure out props, all of that like kind of combines in. So I don't normally actually make cosplays just for funsies. Like it now is like, well, this is for this con, for this competition. This one's for this con, for this competition. But as long as it's in a fandom that I like, I'll do it.
What I'm hearing here is that Paz is more of a method cosplayer. He's got to get into the character and just live in it.
So all of the cryptic posts that you have in your Instagram, your it's all these Wally is like, this is where I'm going this way, but I'm gonna make him dark and I'm gonna make the bodies at the floor.
It's gonna be silly. I'm a very silly, like a lot of the things, like the concepts that I think up of for performances are usually just out there, whatever's like on the top of my head, and hopefully someone out there in the audience connects to it. And
Awesome.
a lot of people just come up and go, that was weird, but I really liked it. And I was like, thank you.
That's
Well played.
No, that's awesome. Now, how about you, Blue? Now, what inspires you and the cosplay that you develop for, whether it be for a con or for an event that you're doing? Where do you get your inspiration from?
Yeah, so when I do a cosplay, I always look at the character and I say, do I like this character? And of course I do when I do the cosplay. And then like for this year, for my newest cosplay I made, it was Amy Rose from Sonic X. And I was like, she had that really big hammer, and I was like, that is something I want to bring to life. You know, I want to pull this right out of the anime and just make it. And I like just embodying the character and all of its glory. I can even do the voice like similar to her. So on stage, I was just yelling in her voice and just have fun with it. And I see like people who cosplay either characters they don't like, but they like playing them, and that's absolutely fine as well. But also if you do like something like super creative, like I did Tokoyami from My Hero Academia. I love the cosplay so much, but it's also a pain in the butt to see because it's covering my eyes. There's like a little piece of felt I can see.
She's gonna have one of my questions.
Just be careful, like obscuring your visions at cons and stuff, because like you got to make sure you're comfortable at all times, drinking water and whatnot.
Good stuff. So that brings me to one of my questions is there been any convention cosplay, I'll say, regrets based around the costume that you picked? Because I'm sure there's plenty for all three of you, because it's just you get
I feel
so
like we're
into
all
wanting
doing the nod
character
of
to look
shame.
perfect.
Yeah.
All cosplayers have had that at least one. Yeah.
My one cosplay story is too easy, and when you're all gonna laugh at me when I tell it later. So, but there's that one whole thing. So I've seen people at conventions. I go to conventions and whatnot, and you just see something that's like, okay, great. Somebody's got the, great Deadpool costume, and then they got like, the kids like baby backpack on, or and then you get somebody like you mentioned that has the big, giant helmet, can't
Pyramid
see,
head.
2 inches in front of them. I wanted to say there was one I saw that somebody was dressed up as like kind of like the alien from the Alien movies, and it was just so big and bulky when they were trying to get into the tables and stuff. They kind of like had to shimmy in and didn't really be able to look at anything. So, Blue, I'm gonna go the other way around the table. I'm gonna let you start this one.
Yeah, like I said, my Tokuyami head was like extremely hard to see out of. I can only see from below me or like a little bit of the sides. Um, I also recommend having like a cosplay handler because if you bump into stuff and they'll make sure like nothing bad like horribly happens. But another thing I've experienced is that like if I'm doing performance based, I didn't stretch enough. So sometimes I do splits on
Oh, no.
stage and I either bump, bruise, or hurt my knees. So make sure to like stretch and prepare before your performances.
I will
Stretching
say
is
this.
critical.
I watched Blue do a lip sync was it a contest or just a lip sync show
I think
at
it was
the
a battle.
NiagaraCon? Oh, was
I
it?
don't know. There's like I don't think anybody did any lip syncing except me. But I didn't stretch before that one, but I actually didn't really hurt my knee that much, but I did scratch it on the carpet. So
Fun.
There was a girl that did a cosplay, and you'll probably be able to see it on Blue's YouTube channel, where she did, I guess the move is called a death drop, and it hurt my knees watching her do that. It was so bad.
Just
So
watching.
I gotta say, but go ahead, Paz. What is your shameful moment?
I mean, I feel like there's like a few things. Like generally, I remind myself I have to make cosplays where I have access to peeing. Like I need to like be able to pee very fast. So like zippers are
astronauts have
placed
trouble
in
with
places. Zippers have to be in the right places. But the other thing is like I really should stop finding like cosplay characters that have large clown shoes because going up and down flights of stairs with really weird shaped feet, like I will immediately like almost trip and fall on the floor. One last quick story though. I had a rehearsal for one of my performances last year, and I had it in just plain clothes, and I did it in a pair of jeans. And in the performance, I do like the Homer Simpson where he's kind of just like on the floor going like this. And I scratched my favorite pair of jeans, so there's this huge gash by the pocket because when I practiced it, it was in like some sort of polyester that didn't scratch, and somehow my jeans completely got torn up, and I still wear those jeans. I have to patch them.
Oh,
Well, now you have the story to go with the jeans. Go, Anna.
How about you, Anna? This is you seem like you're all for this.
Oh yeah. This was something I was really bad at when I first started cosplay, where I wouldn't consider how it would be at the con, and I got better and better, and like just armor that was uncomfortable or lots of layers where you're really really hot. Like you should always make sure that you can get in and out of the cosplay pretty quickly and stuff. The one that I'm thinking of in particular is I did a historically accurate Belle cosplay. So it was the robe a la Francais from the Rococo period, the big old giant hips, like Marie Antoinette. I couldn't actually go into the con that day. I was too big for the aisles between
No. So I wasn't too far off of my guess.
yeah. So I had to stay out in the lobby that whole day, and to go to the bathroom, thankfully they had a cosplay lounge because I had to go in the cosplay lounge and remove the entire skirt and hoop, leave it there, and then go to the bathroom in the pants that I was wearing underneath.
Were you wearing bloomers?
No, I was just wearing like pajama bottoms and flip flops. If I can get flip flops into my cosplay, I will get flip flops into my cosplay.
They were hidden, so who cares? Be comfy.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially with all the other.
Yeah, but like Blue said, having a cosplay handler, if you have a big costume, like I've done cosplays with wings before, like my husk. If I was going to a con with that, I would have had a handler with me to help me go through aisles. I've done previous ones. It's usually my husband, but if he can't make it, I always try to get a cosplay handler, either somebody who's already going to the show, or I will gift somebody a ticket to the show if they will stick with me and help me so I can go to the bathroom and go get down the aisle like with wings. Somebody's got to hold them back so I can move, stuff like that.
Teamwork.
That's awesome. No, I can definitely see. Now, when I first met you, Anna, we did the Rochester Con, and you had a character that you had this like I had that right here. Yeah, you have the You have that crystal head sculpt that you made and everything. I would have to assume that that was hot on your
It's
head.
not too bad now. My first iteration of it was, but now it's not. Because the first time I made it, so I've made that like 3 times. The first time I made it, I tried to do a resin crystal so that the crystals on the head actually look like resin. I got about halfway done with that, realized it weighed 40,000 pounds, and I was never going to be able to wear this. So I scrapped that
Didn't want to be a
idea.
bobblehead for the day.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, my poor neck. So I scrapped that, and then I made a new one where I did the base out of foam and then put the foam on top of it. That one was hot because it was foam. This one here, I bought a lace front wig cap that had no hair, and then I glued it to that. So this one breathes. So it's not so bad, actually.
No,
So
I saw.
that's where I
saw a
wanted to
wire.
go.
I saw a wire
Yeah.
on that. Does it lights up too, right?
Yep.
Yep, there you go. That's the fun with the background.
Yep.
There you go.
Oh, geez.
Yep. I like to do stuff
So
with
that brings-
lighting effects.
Yeah. So that brings me to where I want to talk about a lot of this, because obviously so much of this is focused on obviously the when you are at the show, but there is so much prep work that goes into all of your guys, costumes and everything, and the DIY level, and like you mentioned, learning the skills to do X things, whether it's fabrics and plastics, 3D printing, like I've been goofing around with for my friends in the 501st Legion. So things like that. So I'll go back around again the other direction here. Anna, what were the things you've had to do in your DIY level to get the costumes to, be what you want them to be at, and maybe steering some of the, to what an entry level person might want to do a little bit too would be the other part of this.
So I was already a seamstress. I learned how to sew when I was approximately 13 or so. And I have been making like all of my homecoming, prom dresses, all of my Halloween costumes. So I had a sewing base already when I got into cosplay. So at first, most of my cosplays were sewing based outfits. And then I started to move into, at the time when I got into cosplay, Warbler was really big. I'm so glad it's not anymore. It's expensive and it's not comfortable. But so like that I learned Warbler, and then foam started to get really big. So I learned foam. I've learned leather working. I learned how to solder so I could do LED props. And I learned how to bind a book because I had a character who had a spell book and I wanted to make the spell book. So I learned how to bind a book.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like I
Wow.
mean anything.
Skill.
Yeah,
skill.
we're jack of all
Stacking 'em.
cosplayers are jack of all trades.
I'd love to see your resume. I just want to see what your resume has on it.
Yeah.
For all three of you, actually.
One of my friends
This is
helped
probably
me
awesome.
rewrite my resume to include cosplay and D&D, my 2 big main things, into work relatable skills.
As you should.
Yeah.
That's like AI stuff that you can run through them and just get that whole thing out of there. So, Paz, what do you think?
I mean, honestly, for me, for every project I do, I try to do something new, like one new thing each time. I'm trying my best to get better at sewing. It was not something I was like great at to begin with. Like I had knowledge of how to use a sewing machine, but me sewing a straight line, it took me a very long time to be able to sew a straight line. Like part of my background, I was a big scrapbooker back in the day, and my knowledge of how to get like things cut out, like my Cricut has become my best friend when it comes to making like intricate detailed things in cosplay. Somehow I forced foam into that recently to just start making new shapes, and things like are getting like weird for me where I'm trying to use anything I know from any other like project I've ever done in my life. So if like out of nowhere I'm like trellising a tomato, I'm like, can I somehow use this trellis in my cosplay? Like it's anything. Like now I start like looking at everything differently, where I'm like, this could actually be like a viable something for my cosplay, no matter what.
We're
it
all
is.
engineering at the same time to get to where you need to.
Exactly. Like trying to like just figure out how to get to the end product from some random item.
So you mentioned something, and I don't know what is a Cricut?
Okay, so Cricut or like a silhouette, those are like a machine that basically can cut out shapes for you.
Oh, okay.
I use it mostly for vinyl cutting, so I will like cut out heat transfer vinyl. iron it onto like my cosplays. So a lot of times like badges or I don't even know. I just iron on anything onto
It just
clothes.
works.
Like as long as I can cut out the shape and iron it on, it's on. And I know some
Perfect.
people would consider that a little bit like here on the level. Other people would be doing embroidery. You figure out what level you're in, you know?
That's what works for you.
How about you, Blue?
So for me, I had like no knowledge of sewing, and like I'm still not the best at sewing, but like what's great about the cosplay community is that there's so much to learn from like everyone around you, and like I like making these like super cool props. I also get some help from my dad as well, like finding the right materials and whatnot. Um, I've I don't know. Just like don't hesitate to ask if you need help with anything, because that's what we're here for. It's a large community, and we're like, I wouldn't say like, oh yeah, I'm gonna steal this uh prop idea from another person. No, that's not a good idea. But like um you can like learn valuable skills and whatnot from the cosplay community when it comes to making your costumes.
So I'm glad you mentioned community, because this is one of the things that I have to say that, and I brought up Heroes of Cosplay because it seems like in that show, that reality show, if you want to call it that, they seem to make it seem like the cosplay community can be catty, and I understand that there is a competitive side to it, because you obviously you're building these costumes and you're putting your blood, sweat, and tears in it, and you want to win. However, do you find that the cosplay community as a whole is very welcoming, very warm to anybody, especially newcomers that are trying to get their foot into it and try to participate? How you know what? And since I haven't started with you yet, Pez, how do you feel about the cosplay community in general?
The overall thing for me, like if you're cosplaying, you're a fan of what you're cosplaying as. So you get to geek out with all of your other fans. You're like talking about the show that you like, the movie that you've loved watching millions of times. I mean, honestly,
Star
I
Wars.
have seen a lot of like the dark side of things. People who
Star Wars.
are upset that you don't look accurate enough. That always upsets me. Like,
Mhm.
you can look however you want. You can make your outfit however you do it. Thrifting, I love thrifting things. You don't have to make every piece. If you want to go on Amazon and buy an outfit and go out there and cosplay, you can do that as well. Like,
Mhm.
I hate that there are people out there that are being so judgmental when we're just trying to be like weirdos and have a fun time and like talk about the thing that you love.
Awesome. I love that answer, because that's exactly what we want to put out on this show is people who want to geek out and nerd out about things and just be open the door to a community that maybe they were kind of shy to get into. And I have nothing but respect for the cosplay community, because I've been I've had the option to work with every one of you, and it's opened my eyes. So the next cosplay contest that I get to do, I'm actually dressing up, and I already have my cosplay. And now it's not as cool as all of yours, but it's something that I can do, and I can't
Later point in the
wait.
show, you now have to share that idea with the group here.
I will, I will.
And then I'll share
Um,
my horrible story too.
how about you, Anna? How do you feel about the cosplay community as a whole?
I think most of the cosplay community is very welcoming. There are tons of cosplayers out there who have tutorials, including very big name cosplayers who have tutorials out there and who offer things like patterns for popular products. And sometimes they'll have templates that are free. I mean, they'll have some that you have to pay for as well because they're a little more complicated, but they'll have like, here is a pauldron base, have at it,
Mhm.
go for it. So I feel like for the most part, yeah, it's a very welcoming community. Everybody's willing to help. If you ever see something a cosplayer wearing and you're like, I want to do something that's like that, you can usually just DM them and be like, hey, I really like how you did X, Y, and Z on this cosplay. How did you do that? And a lot of them will walk you through it. Like they'll take the time to do that. I mean, with any
really cool.
big fandom with people in it, you're gonna have the bad apples who are trying to gatekeep it and be like, well, you can't. Just like Paz said, like you can't cosplay because you don't look like the character. I do mostly men. I don't care if I don't look like the character. It's fun.
Yeah, and that's the
So
point. It's
yeah,
fun.
exactly. It's fun
Period.
and it's challenging. Like the makeup, that's I do mostly men because I've gotten into makeup this like right now. So I'm like having fun with the contouring and stuff like that, and seeing the skill develop.
So
Yeah.
so Blue, you inspired this question. So how do you feel about the cosplay community in general?
So for me, I know there's gonna be some bad eggs in the batch. Can't deny it. Some are a bit too competitive. Some are like what Pat said, accuracy. It doesn't matter what, regardless of age, race, sexuality, or whatnot. You can cosplay anyone you want to. The people who say you can't, they need to shut up because, like, I get told Anna said, I cosplay men a lot of times, and they're like, "You're not a dude." I'm like, "It's just for fun. What are you talking about?" And
Yeah.
it's just but to the bad, there's also the good. And I met a bunch of my cosplay friends through cosplay around town, and like I never met them until I got into cosplay. So, and I've been friends with them for years now.
Awesome. So we have
And there's the beauty of it.
we have a comment from Frago, and I'm not exactly sure what that is. So maybe
Or if
you all
anybody
can tell
does.
me what that is.
I don't know.
Or
Got
am
nothing.
I offending people right now because
Take it down, Tommy. Take it down.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
either.
Help us out.
With,
Help us out.
people on. So, anyways, yeah, that brings a little bit to one of the things Paz, you mentioned the accuracy thing, and one of the things that the funny thing on the Mandalorian helmet that I'm actually working on is actually for a guy that wants to be Bro DeLorean is what he wants to be. He wants to look like a stoner stormtrooper Mandalorian. So the whole thing is like weird blues and greens that he asked me to put into the helmet, and I found some really cool plastic for him. But I like that ability that you can, like you mentioned, to have your super accurate cosplay of who it could be or whatever you interpret the character as, or just have some fun with it. And I don't think people should be coming down and raining on your parade for that whole piece to it.
I got to say that I have enjoyed seeing people who've taken some well-known characters and putting a spin on them, like doing a dark version of Wally, or something like that. I like
Jar Jar.
or Darth Jar Jar, yes. But so like I don't know if you've ever heard of the band called Dead on a Sunday, but they've taken like popular songs and they call it what do they call it, like
Or they doing it. They're like downstage it.
Yes, but the guy sounds like Bob from Bob's Burgers, and he actually dresses up like that. But it's like a very goth. It's like gothcore, I think, is what they call it. And so if you get an opportunity, look up Dead on a Sunday, and you will not be disappointed. I assure you. It's great, and I'm giving him a plug, which I don't know the guy personally, but I just love what he does. But anyways, so we've all worked together judging cosplay contests. I'm not a very valid judge because I do not dress up. So obviously, when it came to actually judging these contests, I always defer to what you, as the subject matter experts. So when we go through some of these categories, especially like when we talk about craftsmanship, I don't think you guys are necessarily looking for accuracy of the character that they're doing. I think you're actually looking at the how creative they've come. Did they build everything from scratch? Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Is that what you guys are looking for when you guys are judging the cosplay contest when it comes to like craftsmanship? You know what? We'll start with Paz again.
It's hard. I'm the weird hypocrite
Loaded
because I'm
question.
a performance-based cosplayer. But for craftsmanship for myself, I am looking for cleanliness. So something could be done kind of simply, but if it's done really well, I will appreciate it more than someone who like tried everything and none of it worked, and they just kind of handed it out there. So anything that has cleanliness, there's a difference between that and accuracy. But like if someone is paying attention to how they're in sewing, like hemming things for EVA foam, like I am awful with like extra bits of like contact cement just floating in places. Like if that's kind of cleaned off, that'd be nice. For 3D printing, if some like I know my 3D printer is awful, so I always get weird ghosting effects and weird bumps if they are sanding it down correctly and putting in layers so that you don't see the levels of the 3D printing. If they created the 3D print themselves and didn't just buy it and hit print, that's also an extra point. Like there's a lot of things, and it'll change. Like at every person who walks in, I'm like trying to keep the same exact bar, but each person comes in with different levels. So it can become pretty hard, and that's why we like discussing as a group together, because something I see may be something that is like Anna doesn't see,
Right. How about you, Blue?
For me, I like looking for attention to detail and the cleanliness. Like, if they spent like a good amount of time making sure it looks clean, and like I said, like in Niagara, I was like, I'm looking for attention to detail, cleanliness, and accuracy. But like for accuracy, I'm not like saying, oh, you have to be the exact costume, but like say if they did like a spin on it or something. But I want like sometimes they bring in examples of what the costume looks like, and if I see like a altered thing, then I was like, oh, then that's different from what the actual costume looks like, but it's their costume, so it's absolutely fine.
I got to say, when before I get to Anna with this question, I remember when you and we had that little kid who built that weathered Bonnie, and I swear to God, if you look at the pictures on our webpage, you will see it. It's absolutely phenomenal. And the mom came in with pictures of showing the build in stages, which I was like, okay, yes. And that kid won Best in Show for us. So again, so how about you, Anna? I talked to you about this a little bit before the first time, that because you and I were still kind of trying to figure out how we were going to run the show, let alone, because you know how it goes. And all of you who've done this, they kind of just said, here's the sign up sheets. You figure it out.
So it depends, because there's different types of competitions. So like the ones that we have done thus far have been basically just a walk on, almost popularity based. You do also are also looking at if they made it, or if they embody the character. Like you could show up to one of those where you're just walking on and there's no prejudging, and you can win with something that you bought at the store if you've like embodied the character and you're doing a show and you are that character when you come across the stage. Like you can still win something like that with the personality and the passion and the love for it, as opposed to like I have also done ones where you have prejudging, and you have the person in the room with you, you're looking at them, you're flipping their seams, you're checking their work, you're looking for hot glue strings on their armor and stuff like that. So you would approach those differently. But I think regardless of it, you're looking at accuracy, but it's not, is it accurate to the character, and is it accurate to the characterization of the character. So like if you do a different version of the character, does it still read as that character despite how you've interpreted it? And then as they said, the cleanliness of it, are the seams neat, are they finished, is the armor, has it been sanded well, has it been primed, did they wait long enough between the paint layers, you know, that everything is nice and smooth and it looks more realistic, stuff like that.
Awesome. So do you got something, Craig?
If you don't mind.
Oh, by all means, please. Proceed.
So I got
this is half
I
your
have
show.
a good one, and it's half my show, right? So, we try to stick these to an hour around that, so we don't want to keep you guys, but I do have to ask this because was my experience the one time I did this, that it was way before the cosplay really, got really, really big or anything like that, and didn't realize this is really what I was doing until obviously I started seeing more people doing this bet. I'm gonna flashback to the year 2007. Alice Cooper is going to be playing Halloween in Binghamton, New York. And me and my friend were like, oh my God, we got to go see Alice Cooper. And we wanted to do something special. It was Halloween and all this kind of stuff. So him and I actually dressed up and got in full character to be Wayne and Garth. And everybody was having such a goofy, fun time around us and everything, us being in character all night, me being Garth, acting really awkward and socially weird the whole night, which is completely opposite for me, because I'm usually the loud, obnoxious guy in the room. So we actually got all the way up to the front stage and did the thing from the movie and actually were acknowledged by Alice Cooper. And it was the coolest thing in my damn life as far as silly things like that go. And we just kept yelling party and whatnot and having a good time. Is there a story for each of you that was just that one, wow, I nailed this, I had a wonderful time, and I had this cool experience around your cosplay? Happy to let that mull for a second. But Blue, I guess we'll start with you. That was what I was thinking as far as what was a really fun story you had in character. Or do I need to put it on pause to pull on the other ones on spot?
Yeah, put them on the spot.
Okay, Anna, go ahead, take it.
Oh gosh, I think my so I have two. One is there was this show, which I believe it was on the Sci-Fi Channel, called Z Nation. I don't know if anybody's seen that, but if you look it up, I can't even remember what the character's name was, but she has red hair and she has a bat that has nails hammered through it that she would hit the zombies with. I met that actress and she was so like just over the moon that I cosplayed that character, because it's such a niche character that she now to this day still follows me on Instagram.
That's awesome.
As Anastasia Baranova. And she will occasionally comment on pictures that I post and stuff. Like, she's so sweet, but that was like a holy crap. And then I think the other one doesn't have anything to do with the celebrity, but my name is Anna, so I went by Anastasia Cosplay because Anastasia was like my favorite princess growing up. Outside with Anastasia and Belle, they were kind of neck and neck, but it took me years to finally do an Anastasia cosplay. And then when I did her big ball gown dress, it just got such a good reaction. Like, so many people just wanted to come and talk and be like, yes, oh my gosh, not enough people do Anastasia. I love the cosplay. And we just like it was just such a great convention experience wearing that one.
Awesome.
Cool. So you said the Z Nation character was a redhead with a big hammer?
No, a bat with nails in it. Yes, that's it. Anastasia Baranova. Yes, I cosplayed that character, cool. And she loved it, really, and cool so character. She followed me on Instagram.
Yeah, I did watch that show for a little bit. I'm like, this sounds familiar. How do I get? And I found it. So cool. Win. So, Paz, I don't know if you're ready to go.
I mean, I kind of can. The most recent con that I got to table was actually Utica Anime Fest, and one of the voice actors that was there was Kent Williams. He is the voice of Mr. Compress at My Hero Academia, and I knew he was going to be there, so I went as Mr. Compress. So I actually had some time to just chat with him first of all, he's like the nicest guy, but like he was like asking me, he's like, "Oh, so how did you make your mask? How did you make your hat?" It was like the coolest interaction. And I know for a fact that like all voice actors are just regular humans, but it was just so nice to just have him, like he took time away from his lunch break to just chat with all of the cosplayers that were like judging that day. It was so much fun. He was the nicest guy. But like
really
generally
cool.
speaking, anytime like I'm doing performances and someone comes up to me and says, "I have never seen whatever your performance was, but it has inspired me to try watching the show." I did one for Zom 100, and I had someone DM me like a week or two after the con and said, "I remembered your Zom 100 routine, and I gave it a shot, and I love that show." And I was like, that is like the coolest thing. If I
Nice.
inspire someone to fall into a different fandom.
Yes, thank
Like
you.
you
Thank
bought
you.
into our mission. You bought into our mission statement for the show there with that one, bud.
All right, Blue,
Deal.
you're on the spot again. Come on now.
Okay, so I have three. One, I met the voice actors for Aqua Teen Hunger Force. It wasn't I wasn't in a cosplay from their show or anything, but when I met them and they asked who I was Amy from Sonic X. They were just obsessed with my cosplay, and they were actually playing around with my hammer, and I was just having a great time. And those guys were great. Carrie Means and Dana Schneider, they're so funny, and I love them so much. The second one is Utica Anime Fest as well. I met John Swayze. He's the voice actor of the Lord Death from Soul Eater, and I was cosplaying Maka from Soul Eater, and he said that my costume was amazing, and he really liked my scythe, and I just like, my soul just left my body that day. And one is a really sweet one. It's at my local Comic-Con. It's Twin Tiers Comic-Con. I believe I was cosplaying Amy again. And there was a little girl who walked up to me and she's like, "Oh my God, it's Amy Rose." And she gave me a hug, and I was like super emotional. I started crying, and like she was just so sweet. And that's why I really like cosplays, because if someone recognizes you or loves your character, and just hearing them say that they liked my costume, that means everything to me.
So,
Worked so hard.
I'm glad that you said that, because we are getting close to the end here, and I don't want to keep everybody that long, because I know some people have little children that they need to get into bed. but I gotta say before we wrap this up, how does it feel when you are in character, and it's a character that is beloved by a whole group of fans, whether you're just attending a con or even sitting on a judging table and stuff like that, and people come up to you, and I've seen this with just random people asking if they could take pictures because they're in cosplay and they're portraying a character. How does it feel when you got a fan that comes up to you and says, "Oh my God, can I please take your picture?" And if it's a character that is appropriate to take a picture with, how does it? You got to feel like a celebrity at that point. And even when you get like a celebrity who actually admires the work that you put forward, that's got to feel like Cloud9, right? I would assume. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, again, this is one of those things that when we touch on a subject, and we obviously could talk for hours about this, and I know that Anna's probably like, "You didn't touch half of what I wanted to talk about."
So it's all 60-minute thing.
So I apologize, because so we definitely have to do a part 2, because I want to get that out there, because it's such a great community, the community that I've actually got a chance to just kind of be on the outside, but be a part of a little bit. So I'm going to go around the table with this one thing before we let you do your shameless self plugs. See, I get tongue tied too. But if you were to give some advice to somebody just starting out or wanting to try to dip their toes in the cosplay pool, what would you suggest they do? And I will start with you, Anna.
Oh gosh. So I have a lot, but I think the number one thing that I tell any cosplayer who is just starting out is do not compare yourself to other cosplayers, because you are just starting out with a skill. You're not going to be as good as somebody who's been doing it for 20 years. That just doesn't happen. Instead, compare yourself to yourself. So when you start cosplaying, your first cosplay, don't worry about that. 5 cosplays down, look back at your first cosplay and see how you've grown and how you're better. And then seeing that you're actually like being able to see that progress, that'll help you when you start being like, but so and so did it better. No, they didn't. They've just been doing cosplay longer. Look how good it is from what you started at. You're doing great. Just keep going.
Awesome. Good advice. How about you, Paz?
I think the core of it for me is just making sure that that person is having fun. It doesn't matter if you just put a piece of paper onto a shirt and that's your cosplay. If you're going out there and you're having a great time, then it doesn't matter what everyone else thinks. And again, being able to like hang out with people in your community, you'll chat, then you'll start learning a lot of things. You'll grow. The next time the project might not just be a piece of paper, and it'll be great. It's all about having fun. Just make sure you don't lose sight of that.
Awesome. All right, Blue.
This actually like advice basically came at me today, and I'm gonna say don't second guess yourself, because like if you want to cosplay this character and you're like, oh, I can't do it, no, you can, because right before this interview, actually, I had a completely different cosplay in mind. I was going to be Sally from The Nightmare Before Christmas. I got all face painted, and I even had the makeup wipes to prove it. I got rid of it right before the interview, and I switched into this cosplay. So do not do that.
Don't second guess yourself. That's awesome.
Do.
All right, so
it took me an hour, and I was like, no, I don't want to wear this anymore.
So before,
just to play with chat, the Paz's joke, I am now podcast host. Just kidding.
So before we go into shameless self plugs, because I can't speak anymore, is there any part of the cosplay community? Now, I know we just got done talking about the good, how you feel about the cosplay. Is there anything about the cosplay community that you feel can improve?
Social media. Social media and cosplay.
That's the biggest one. Everywhere.
There are a lot of people who are in social media cosplay who are not cosplayers, and their purpose is just to be as rude as possible to people. So when you do social media and you're doing cosplay, keep that in mind, that some of these people are purposely doing this and it's not you, and that most people absolutely love what you're doing and adore what you're doing, and just keep going.
Keyboard commandos, right?
Some trolls.
How about you, Paz? Do you see that there's a part where the cosplay community can better itself?
For competitions, I am always upset when people get so like sour grapes over losing, and they like start taking it out on the winners. A lot of times, again, we were talking about like things like prejudging and stuff like that. They don't see sometimes like their other competitors' work and what they did to achieve their look. And they're like, well, why didn't I win? My stuff was perfect. And it might not be perfect. And according to the judges, some things could be, better. Just learn to take feedback like a lot better than that. I get that you're going to be upset. Get over it. We'll move on. We'll do the next competition. We'll learn from the mistakes, and the things will get better. So just don't be like sour about it. Have some time to stew. You'll be upset. Learn from it. That's it.
Awesome. Good
call.
Good
life lesson too, not just
yes.
It took me a long time to learn that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I know that one too.
How about you, Blue? Is there a area in the cosplay community that you think can better itself, or could use a little work?
Going off what Paz says, I'm just like, I would say just have fun, like, and not take everything so seriously, because I'm a bit of a perfectionist myself, but like I never want to like bring anybody down, regardless on how they act or anything. Don't tell anybody not to do something, but just have fun. That's what we're all here for. We're just nerds in costumes.
I like what you said earlier about not second guessing, and because I think we all have had that instance where we had people come up with one cosplay and then completely come back with a completely different costume on. And it's just like, wait a minute, you were like Wolverine, but now you're Cyclops. What happened there? So
That's actually very common, especially in anime cons, where people will do 2 or 3 cons, so they are costumes in a day, where they have an AM, they have a PM, and then they have the party one. It's super, super common. Not something I do. If I'm doing this effort, like this took an hour and a half. If I'm doing this effort, this is the cosplay the whole day.
Well, we appreciate your effort. Show it
all day
so.
cosplay.
Thank you.
All right, so Anna, real quick, what character are you right now?
I am Jace from Arcane.
Jace from Arcane. Paz, are you in character right now, or are you just
I
Paz?
actually am. I'm actually Bruno from Encanto right now.
There you go.
Nice,
Kind of hiding
nice.
between like the walls and trying to like sneak Remy into the shot here.
Little
I do have to post this comment because we do have somebody that's on the show, and thank you for everybody that has been listening tonight. Dax here has the idea of cosplay is fishing out the right hat apparently out of the basement, but to that point, as long as you're having fun.
A hot dog Halloween costume is still cosplay. If you go to a con and you wear it as cosplay, it is cosplay.
It is cosplay.
There you go. Well played.
And
So
Blue,
hi,
what is
I
Dax.
gotta use this word. Oh, go
Hi,
ahead.
Dax. Blue, what character are you now? Because obviously you are not Sally from The Nightmare
I'm
Before
not Sally.
Christmas.
I am Juko Enoshima from Danganronpa, and here's my little bear Monokuma. He's my evil little. Well, I don't know. I'm basically puppeteering him throughout the entire game.
So I gotta say this before we go into it, and I keep pushing it off, is I appreciate having you all help me through these cosplay contests because I cannot pronounce anything ever. and
Clearly
going
with a
forward,
shameless
I'm gonna
self-promoting bit.
and I'm gonna tell you this right now is going forward, I'm gonna write down everybody's stuff so I can at least read what they write, because some people's handwriting is just absolutely horrible,
I don't know
and
what
they
you're
should all be
talking about.
doctors. So okay, so as we close the show, we do shameless self plugs. So we're going to start with you, Anna. And what do you got going on? What do you got? Anything coming up? Any cosplay futures?
So cons are kind of up in the air right now. I'm looking at Nickel City. Obviously, if the Rochester Con people ask me to come back and it's something in the Rochester area, absolutely. I might even travel a little bit come summer. But yeah, I don't have any concrete plans for cons. It's just kind of whatever's happening when I can go. I'm not working on any cosplay right now, but I want to do an actual Jace. Like this is just a closet cosplay stuff from my closet, but I do have stuff to make it. And he's got. I'm with you, Blue, with the big old hammers. He's got a big old hammer that's really cool, and I want to make it.
No.
So I think he's going to be my next cosplay that I start working on. And I am mostly on TikTok as Anastasia Cosplay, Anna with 2 N's. But I also do have Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube under the same name. I just don't post to those as often. Mostly TikTok.
Awesome. Thank you very
Deal.
much. Paz, floor is yours, good sir.
Okay, let me figure out my okay. So for June 8th, the Sunday, Albany is having the Albany Anime Fest, and I get to be one of the guests and one of the judges for that. So hopefully I'll see you there at the Desmond. May 3rd and 4th, technically, but May 3rd is Saratoga Comic Con. I will be competing in that as one of the guys from Four Town from Turning Red, and I get to like sing and do my whole routine. But the one
Nice.
thing that I'm like really excited about, May 2nd, here in the capital region of New York, is the Beltane Fantasy Cosplay Ball. And it's the first time that we are attempting like something like this. I get to sing for it, which is so like, I'm so excited. I just found out before we start this podcast that the tickets have already sold out. So we have a full ball going on. And I
Nice.
talked to some of the people in the community just recently that They were thinking of trying to do this 10, 15 years ago, and it just didn't work. And now it like finally all clicked together. One person coordinated everything. All these cosplayers are so excited. Every sort of like fandom, mostly Western, but I know there's a lot of anime people coming in. And so I am so excited to see everyone. And we all just to get to like hang out, go to a ball, have some really fancy food and drinks. It's going to be great. If you want to catch me on like social media, this_is_Paz on Instagram. I'm very sassy on Threads. So if you ever see me on Threads, I will just be making snarky comments to anyone who's on there. Like I'll be giving advice and then like just sassing. I don't know why. I've fallen in love with just being weird on Threads. I'm also occasionally on TikTok, but so yeah.
So just to ask, is that like you took the mustache and the beard off, and you're like your inverse you for the Threads universe versus everything else?
Threads is a lot of fun. I don't know why it's become such a weird community that I'm like willing to just be unnecessarily odd on Threads.
Awesome. All
Well,
right, Blue Kid,
and
what you got going for
Paz,
us?
right?
Just Paz. This is Paz.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, this is
Got
Paz.
it.
In
Just wanna make
almost
sure
everything.
everybody know where to find you. Got it.
All right, and
Blue.
for me, I'm going to Steel Pop Expo in May. I am possibly considering, I don't know for 100% sure, but Retro Games Con. I forgot the name of it. I think Pat knows. And of course,
Yeah,
I
no, I
always
go to that one too, but that's your time.
Yeah. I always go to Twin Tiers Comic Con, but I think this year I will be helping out with the cosplay stuff. So I'll be a part of the show, which is nice.
Awesome.
I don't know. All my socials, it's Blue Kitten Cosplay. I'm on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, all the above. And yeah, I also do voice acting as well. I've been in a few projects, and yeah, and you can see all the characters I imitate or original characters I voice.
Awesome. Good. Awesome job, guys. And
That's something
again,
I've always wanted to get into.
I actually just got my first IMDb credit for a voiceover that I did just recently. So I'm working on it. I'm working on it too. All right, guys. But
podcast versus become my deal.
I want to say thank you so much, and I would hope that if we ever, and I know that we will, do another cosplay. And Anna, I will have you submit your stuff first, so then this way we can make sure we hit everything.
We got most of it. It's good. We got most of it.
Because I know that this is a world that we can only scratch the surface of if we really wanted to get deeper into it and learn more about it, because I think this is a community that for the most part is very welcoming and very loving for everybody. And I saw that in Niagara. I saw that in Rochester, and I want to keep that. I want to keep that going, and I appreciate having all three of you on. So please give yourself a round of applause. And I hope that you will come on again with us. So with that being said, Craig, will you pull us out?
All right. Closer. Got it. So thank you everybody for joining us. It was a pleasure getting a few comments we had in this evening. I thought I have to put this one on really quick here because it's just too funny. Hey, I've had people ask me what I'm cosplaying as when I wasn't actually cosplaying.
That's Carl.
Just saying.
Hi, Carl.
Always ending a joke. So on that note, thank you very much for tuning into the TNC Random Fandom Podcast. We are your hosts for all things fandom, whatever you happen to nerd out. We are here to have chats on whatever topic you can happen to think of. Join us every week. We will have wonderful new guests. We will have a new topic to talk about every week. And we are going to be here live on Sundays, 7 p.m. Eastern time every week, unless told differently, but most of the time. But catch us after the live show, wherever you get your podcasting pleasures from. And everybody stay out around for 2 seconds after the show. But thank you very much again, and we will all have a great week. See you next week. Cheers.
Good
Bye,
night,
everybody.
Bye.